Tommy Robinson spent months courting support from many MAGA organisers and influencers, as well as making high-profile trips to Israel. Broadcaster Glenn Beck will be joining the rally, while others, including Colombian racist Valentina Gomez, have been denied entry. You might ask why, on both sides of this apparent battle for the soul of Britain, there's such a fixation on everywhere other than Britain, from the Brits marching against Israel to the Israel-backing Americans telling us how to be British. And that's always been my suspicion about extremes, whatever side they're on. They say they're fighting for your interests, but they're often fighting somebody else's. Here to debate this is the host of Crucible, Andrew Wilson, Ava Santini, the political editor at Politics Joe, a Green Party activist and Birkbeck University Associate Professor Ashok Kumar, and Ben Habib, leader of Farage's rival Advance UK, and the co-founder of Vice Media and the Proud Boys, Gavin McInnes. All right, well, welcome to you. It's certainly a perfect panel to debate all this. Ava Santini, there are these two marches, I believe fundamentally in free speech. That includes the right to peacefully protest and to peacefully march and protest if you see fit. Do you have an intrinsic problem with the Tommy Robinson Unite for the Kingdom march?
I'm going to surprise you and say no. I am actually very pro-protest, and I think that any protest that people would like to hold, I do think should be granted in the United Kingdom. If you want to turn up and make a fool of yourself and spout racist nonsense, then that is your right to do so, because we live in a democratic society and a country that does allow that. I'm actually really interested in something you brought up in your introduction there, Piers, because you talked about the number of arrests that had allegedly happened at a March for Palestine rally. Actually, if you look at the Tommy Robinson rallies over the last couple of years, there have been a whole number of arrests. Just last September, there were 20 officers who were injured because people were throwing bottles at them. There was an officer with a broken nose. I mean, can you imagine that, smashing up a policeman's nose? It doesn't really seem very patriotic to me. But again, if they want to be idiotic and act like that, then fine. It's not my problem.
And to be clear, on the Palestine march, should anybody have a banner saying, or a chant that says globalize intifada, for example, what would you feel about that?
I'm not a theologian, so it's not something that I can really speak to. I understand that the community have expressed upset when that phrase is being chanted. I actually think there are much bigger things to worry about on those marches at times. I think there have been a couple of people who have showed some anti-tropes, and actually, thankfully, the March for Palestine group have kicked those people out and have been very forceful about them not attending.
But that phrase, the globalised intifada...
I would say, I think we get really distracted by this phrase. You know, people who go on these marches are not going on these marches because they don't like people or because they do actually want to see, I don't know, an Islamic regime in the United Kingdom or whatever ridiculousness the right wing are peddling now in this country. They go because they do not like British taxpayer money being spent on that are being sent to Gaza and potentially killing. That's what they don't like, and that's where our focus should be.
Okay, Andrew Wilson, your response to that?
Well, that's not really true. They're not. It is true in a sense that they are anti what's going on with Gaza and all that, but they're not really turning out for that reason in the UK. They're turning out because they're saying that the other side is racist. They're saying that Tommy Robinson's protest is a bunch of racists. I mean, you can read article after article of the opposition saying this. So I'm fully 100% behind these rallies. I think that they need to remove remove the element from the UK altogether. That's what I would advocate for.
What are you talking
yes,
about?
That's correct.
What are you talking about?
Remove the element.
Well, hang on, just to clarify.
It means no more mass migration from nations to the UK. That's insane.
But we have about 5 million in the UK. What would you do with them?
Well, the ones that are there, you can't do very much about, but you can do something about continuing the immigration policies. Empathy. You don't need to do it.
So just to be clear, Andrew, you wouldn't let any Muslims into the country?
Yeah. Well, people have a right. They have an autonomous right to determine who comes into their nation and who doesn't. If the people of the nation don't want a people group to come into their nation, that is their right. Just like it's the right of people in Muslim nations to make those determinations for themselves as well.
I just find that whole thing totally ludicrous. I mean, if you knew anything about net migration to the United Kingdom, it doesn't come from quote unquote countries. There are not people who are breaking into the country and trying to turn it into, I don't know, some sort of Islamic state. Like, it's simply not happening here. And I really worry about the sort of talking points that you are spouting and potentially you are reading. I mean, I live in London. I've always lived in London. This is not a reality
Who's your
that I
mayor?
recognise.
Who's your mayor in London?
What's actually incorrect, though, about...
Yeah, Sadiq Khan. And what about him?
Let's look at some more of your leaders.
Hang on, Gavin, I will come to you. Andrew?
I just want to know what's actually incorrect about me saying if the people of the UK do not want any more migration of immigrants into their nation, can you give me a single moral argument for why that's
Well, that's simply not true. Well, where have you got that idea? Apart from Tommy Robinson.
If it is
other than Tommy Robinson, Andrew, honestly, to be honest, other than Tommy Robinson marching around the airways in America saying that, I have not seen any poll in the UK which says the UK people don't want any coming into the country.
Yeah, I understand.
It's not
but
true.
That's not my question. My question is, if it were the case that the people of the UK no longer wanted migration into their nation, what is even the moral argument against that? What?
I am very concerned about actually Christian evangelicism that's seeping over into the United Kingdom from the United States. And I think that that is actually a source for much of our discontent. I've always lived in London and we don't have a single problem with integration between religions in the country. I've never experienced that in my life.
Right,
May I finish the
Go
point
to
as well?
Harrods
I
and
would
tell me
just
if it's
like to
right.
stay on Sadiq Khan for one moment there. Sadiq Khan has won a landslide victory on his third term. That's 3 times he has been elected as mayor of London. Now, if there was a huge problem with Sadiq Khan, why on earth, with such a huge proportion of Londoners from all creed, all race, why would they continue to
Because
vote him
London's
in?
gone. London isn't Britain anymore.
Where's it gone?
When was the last time
60%.
you were here?
Where has London gone?
60% of Londoners weren't born in London. They weren't born in the United Kingdom. I think that's the point Andrew's making.
Where has London gone? The point I was going to make about the United Kingdom march, now let me bring Andrew back in here. I don't pretend for a moment that we have not had a poor record in controlling immigration to this country this century, right? We have had 2 problems. One, we've had the issue of small boats coming over the channel from France, which has been completely uncontrolled. And we've had between 40 and 60,000 people a year coming in illegally. And once they get here, it's almost impossible to send them anywhere else. And so they've been put up in hotels at expense to the taxpayer. It's caused a lot of social anger and unrest. And it should have been tackled years ago. We've also had a massive issue with legal migration, where under Tony Blair, a Labour Prime Minister, but also then fueled by successive Conservative Prime Ministers, we have allowed too many people to come into the country legally with too many dependents. I don't think these things are contestable. They're just a reality of what we've done in this country. But the narrative that we are being overrun by Muslims is untrue. And that is also, I think, a demonstrable fact in this country. And I'm just concerned that the problem with Robinson is that he spews all this stuff all the time. If you look at his social media feed, the only crimes he focuses on are crimes perpetrated by Muslims. And yet the vast majority... hang on, Gary. I'm talking to Andrew. And yet the vast majority of crime in the UK is committed by white people, including crime, including...
You don't understand per capita?
Including the vast majority of crime is done by white people.
Yeah, but
you'll never believe that looking at Tommy Robinson's feed, because he only focuses on Muslim crime.
Well, hang on. When you say that there's various stats which are misleading, Gavin did ask a pertinent question. When you say that most crime is committed by white people, well, it should be. That's still the dominant racial element in England. What about per capita, meaning per proportion?
My question...
Hang on, real quick, I'm almost done.
Okay.
Is there a disproportionate amount of crime from these immigrants in comparison to the domestic population? That's his question. I think it's valid.
Specifically child...
Well, actually, the vast majority of child is perpetrated in the UK by white people.
Not asking about
per
that.
capita.
We're asking about per capita.
But why does Tommy Robinson... I don't know the per capita number. I'll get it while we're talking.
85% of gang rapes in this country are perpetrated by South Asian men, according to the Quillian report of 2017.
Well, actually, they were British Pakistani men, to be specific, in parts of the north of England, right?
Kashmir, which was... Yeah, Pakistan.
Yeah, from Mirpur, mostly from Mirpur.
That's what the rally's about on May 16th.
But my point, Andrew,
is... It's the per capita rally.
My point to Andrew is it helpful that Tommy Robinson only fuels a narrative that all the crimes are being committed by Muslims when they're not.
I'm not convinced that that's
an insane
actually
question.
accurate. So it seems I've watched a few of the Robinson debates, and he tends to focus on disproportionate crime rates. What Gavin's talking about here, which is per capita. He's saying that disproportionate to the domestic population that's here, these people are overwhelmingly committing these types of crimes. That doesn't sound to me like he's trying to pin everything on, but rather point out an individualistic and precise problem.
So we have
we
have the data for you. The arrest rates by ethnicity per 1,000 people for the year ending March 2025. 19 arrests per 1,000 people. White, 10 arrests per 1,000 people. Asian, 9 arrests per 1,000 people.
Yeah, now
That's not answering the question.
And
Okay,
the
so now you
problem
want to
is that
narrow
they're
it
not
down
getting
again and again and
arrested,
again.
Piers.
Okay, you
Thousands of girls are getting-
asked me to give
What a
you
weird side to pick.
the pro
You're mad at
rata
the guy
numbers.
who's trying to stop
There you
child.
go. You sound unhinged.
So they make up 4%
I
of
am
the
unhinged.
population, but make up 18% of all the people jailed, Piers? What? Am I reading that right? Is that correct? I just want to make sure that I got this right. You said you're going to get these per capita numbers, and
Yeah.
I want them. Like, what are they? What are the per capita numbers? Because what I'm seeing is not looking very good. Okay, it's not looking very good for your side. So what are they? What is the actual
why
per capita
are you
numbers for these
avoiding the
child sex
subject?
crimes?
I find it
Like, why
extraordinary.
do you call someone when they point this out?
I've literally just told you the arrest rates for ethnicity, and they speak for themselves.
Well, no, it did.
Well,
when
they do.
did you use the word?
Literally
When did
speak
you
for
use the word-
themselves.
When did you use the word-
I'm not pretending Muslims don't commit crimes. So does every other
No,
ethnicity
we're
and
asking-
religion.
Oh my
commits
God.
crimes.
It's not like this
Disproportionate
splitting hairs.
there.
I do think if we're talking
If
about
that's not
child
hairs.
Splitting
should be a one-
hairs,
What?
and now
Listen.
you're focused on white because you don't understand per
I'm not
capita.
focused on white. I'm
Britain is
talking
all about
about
class.
the issue,
The working
homogenous
class
issue
has had
of
enough.
child. You don't feel
The
comfortable
working class had enough
front.
of your accent and the way you ignore things because they're not fashionable. Sorry. I'm sorry that recognizing gangs is not fashionable.
What?
What are you talking about, man?
I've just gone
I'm
on
talking about you guys
gangs.
denying that we have a modern Islamic problem with child. That's what these rallies are about. You guys want to diffuse it and say, well, white males do it too, and let's ignore per capita.
That's not
you're,
what
you're
I said.
playing it down.
That's not what I said
What?
at all. That's just
You-
not
by
what I said.
You focusing on white males, you're trying to dilute the
Focus on white
equation.
males.
My point, which started all this, is that if you read Tommy Robinson's X feed, for example, you will never see anything about white males committing crimes. Why?
Because he's
Because
focused
that's
on a
not the thing he's
specific
trying to
problem.
Exactly.
Exactly.
attention to.
Exactly. Because he's focused on
And you're not.
24/7. Oh, I'm focused on everyone and all crimes.
Okay,
Piers,
can you
if there
play
is-
back
if-
your
What I'm
segments on
not
the gangs of
voting,
Rotherham?
I'm not
Can you
telling
show me
millions
your
of
piece
people
on-
every day
on the
that the only
gangs
problem in this
Manchester?
country is the taking over, because it's bullshit. Anyway, we've got to leave it there. Will you be watching the rally, Gavin, on the weekend? Will you be
I'll
tuning
be there
in?
with bells on, just like I was at the last one with the other 3 million people.
Right. Yeah. Well, okay. Why don't we count them when you're there? Because you'll find that
Well,
you're
you can just look at the shots.
you'll
Look at the
find you're
pictures from the helicopter he got, because he knew you would lie.
2,850,000 short. No, these are the police figures from the march. 150,000
that's reliable.
maximum. But don't
Let's
tell
rely
me.
on the-
Don't tell
let's
me.
rely on the deep
they lied.
state. Let's
the
rely on
police
the elites,
lied.
the
Of course
state.
they would. Why would the police lie about a crowd number?
Because the state hates Tommy Robinson. They've thrown him in jail 10 times for nothing.
Well, hang on.
They threw him
Speaking
in
of
jail for a
speaking
series of
numbers,
crimes.
We never did get those numbers.
Go look
We
up the
never, I'm just
crimes.
pointing that out. We never did get those numbers. Speaking of numbers, we did ask for them many times, but I never actually got the numbers to demonstrate whether or not there's disproportionate criminality from the
will
UK,
get-
especially when it comes to crime.
I will tell you
Just
this.
saying.
I will get those numbers,
We all
and we
know.
will talk about this again. We will get all the pro rata numbers for all types of crime in this country. But the
I look
fact,
forward to you guys catching up to us. I look forward to you and your posh accents catching up to the rest of the world.
mate, no disrespect, but you live in America where I think how many is it?
Yes.
40,
yeah.
40?
White people are doing it too, It's a general problem. It's all over the place. I don't like you vilifying my servants. It stresses them
I
out.
actually think
incredibly.
your accent is a crime. And on that note, I'm gonna round off this
Sod off.
debate. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Have a good one, Piers.